Okay, learning. Okay, we are learning Sukkah Daf Lamed Amad Aleph. We're going to on Chavtes Amud. We just began the third parak. Lulav Hagazal talking about Alaminim. And the first halach of the Mishnah is a Lulav Hagazal, a stolen lulav, and a dried out lulav are both puzzle. The reason for Lulav Hagazal is because of Mishal Lachem. It's got to be yours. Lakachtem Lachem B'yem Harishon. And the reason why Yavesh is puzzle is because Rashi says because of Hadar. Zakei Levan Veyu Tosfos said because of a hekesh to create Hadar. In any event, says the Gemara, Kapazik V'tani, the Mishnah is concise. It doesn't make any chilukim. Lo yishna b'yom tov rishon, lo yishna b'yom tov sheni. Sounds like the halacha of the Mishnah is talking about both the first and second day of Yom Tov. So Bishlam Yavesh, I understand why Yavesh would be puzzled all 7 days because Hadar be'inan velaka. You need it to be Hadar. That's the regular din of Zakei Levan Veyu. You need it to be Hadar, and you don't want to have it if it's dried out. Elagazel, but if it's Tisham B'yom Tov Rishon the first day, Dichsev Lachem Mishal Lachem, like the pasuk says, Lakachtem Lachem. El B'yom Tov Sheni, which means Chol Hamoed. Amai Lai. It's not a mitzvah deraisa, it's only mitzvah rabbanon on the second day. Lachach l'chem b'yom rishon is only in the mitzvah deraisa is only the first day. So why should the gazal be a problem? You don't have the miyut of lachem. Lachem was only talking about the first day. Now Tosfos wants to know why who says you should be machalak at all between the first day and the rest of the days? And it seems like it was pashut that hadar should be all days and this bus and lakachtem lachem not. Why? What's the chiluk? So if you look at the bottom Tosfos, the 4 lines from the bottom, second to last 2 words on the line, Tosfos says lakach nira. The hainu time mishum diyem rishon de'iraisa b'gvulin b'shar yem d'rabbanan zeichel mikdash k'di isa b'rishul levarov. The first day everywhere outside of the Beis Hamikdash is only the rice is the first day. The rest of the days are only the Rabbanon. Hilkach beikar halakicha k'gain dalaminim b'lakicha l'kol echad tikun b'shar yemikein deraisa. When it comes to the halachas, to the ikar halachas of lakicha, so there Chazal said that the Rabbanon has to be similar to the deraisa, and therefore everybody has a chiyuv to take it. You need all 4. And similarly, the din of Hadar, which is the din of Hiddur Mitzvah, would also apply all 7 days. But by chaser, if the Esrog Lulav is missing something, or if it was borrowed, their Chazal did not feel it necessary. It wasn't the Iker Lakicha, and therefore they didn't say that you'd have to have those halachas on the rest of the Yantiv. Ube Gazel, and when it's stolen, here plucked the Shmaitzim, and that is a machlekes in our sugya, which we will see as we learn the Gemara Beit. That's why there would be a chiluk between the first day and the last days, because of deraisa d'Rabbanan, and where the Chazal decided to institute their d'Rabbanan, which halachas they took with them, which halachas they left with them. So the Mishnah that was mashma that these halachas apply all 7 days. So Kash is why? Why should Gazel apply the last days of Yantiv? Amar b'yechem mishum rishim ben Yechoy. So Rabbi Yechon says then Rishim ben Yechoy mishum dehavle mitzvah ba'ba aveira. Because taking a stolen lulav is a mitzvah that's coming through an aveira. And how do you know there's a problem with that? Shenemra, Pasuk says, returns to bring karbanos. V'havesim gazel v'sapiseach. You brought a stolen animal and a lame one. V'sachayla. If you were to bring that, would that be accepted? Says the Navi Melachai. Would Hashem be interested in such a thing? Okay, but the point we want over here is that the Gemara, the pasuk compares or puts gazel and pisayach, a lame and stolen animal, in the same breath. So where it says gazel do me the pisayach, ma pisayach less like the kanta, just like an animal which is lame, amum kavua. It's not going to get better. There's no way to fix it. Av gazel less like the kanta. So something that's stolen also has no way to fix it. Which means it doesn't make a difference if the owners give up hope on it or not. Either way, it's going to be puzzled. Now, I understand why before Yush you can't use a stolen animal because it says Adam Kiyakrav Mikem. It must belong to you. And it's not yours. Aval Yush, how can you be Yush? big machlekes, which we'll discuss a little bit, we'll touch on, is that Yush is a kinyan, at least according to some, some, that the fact that the owner relinquished his ownership from it by saying, wow, I'm never going to get this back. So therefore, whoever picks it up could be kainit. So acher Yush, once the owners give up hope, then you could be from getting it back. So then you're kainit and it belongs to you. So why can't I use an animal that the owner gave up hope on? The reason is because it's a mitzvah ba'avera, and that's our source. That mitzvah ba'avera is an issue. Now, Taisus wants to know. It sounds like l'chayra. If this is a halacha, it sounds like we're using this halacha. It sounds like it's. I mean, it's brought me to Sefer, but it sounds like it's a valid and it would affect the eraises as well. So then, why would I need a pasuk of lechem at all by lulav? And the Gemara says later on, Mishalachem is lahaitzi ashol ve'esa gazel. So this says really gazel is just like dragged in there, but really the meat of lachem is not for gazel because it's a mitzvah ba'avera, and the lachem is only coming to be mamayit shaul. That's Taisus's idea, and Taisus has issues with this. That mitzvah ba'avera is a din da'iraisa, and he answers it up. But that's what this Taisus holds. This Taisus holds that a mitzvah ba'avera, the psul mitzvah ba'avera, is da'iraisa. Now, if you remember back on Daf Tes, we learned there the Gemara understood that mitzvah ba'avera. Taisus understood that it would only be a derabanan. That's machlekes in these two balatesis if mitzvah ba'avera is a psul da'iraisa or a psul midrabanan. Okay, let's go further. What does the pasuk mean when it says Ki ani Hashem oyev mishpat? Because I am Hashem who loves justice. Soinei gezel ba'ila, and I hate someone bringing me an oil that's stolen, a carbon that's stolen. The Gemara brings a pasuk, mashal hamelech, a mashal of a king basar v'dam, a king of flesh and blood. Shaya over al beis hameches, who's going over, he's passing by the toll collection or the tax collection, and pay the tax or pay the toll. So they said to him, I don't get it. It's all your money. Why are you putting money into it? So he told them, for me, everybody will learn. And that's where they won't abate paying taxes. They'll also pay. If they see the king paying, so then they'll pay as well. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says the same. Ani Hashem Tzoni Gesel Ba'ila. Mimeni Yilmdu Bana, my children shall learn from me. V'yavrichu atzam min hagesel. Otherwise, I could say, listen, the carbonas belong to me anyway. These animals belong to me anyway. So who cares if it's coming from this one or from that one? It all belongs to me. Hashem says, if I don't take gesel, so then my children shall learn from me not to bring me and not to steal. Yavrichu atzam min hagesel. Okay, Itmanami, we have a memra that learns the Mishnah like this as well. Amr Ravami, Yavish Pasal Mibnei She'en Hadar. Gazel Pasal Mishum Havei Mitzvah Ba'avera. So you see that this Meira also learned that the psul of Gazel is because of Mitzvah Ba'avera. Yofa. Now, this, says the Gemara, is in contrast to Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak does not hold to the psul of Mitzvah Ba'avera. Our Mishnah is only talking about the first day of Yom Tov. Just like you can use a borrowed lulav, you can also use a stolen lulav. I don't have an issue of mitzvah ba'avera. Master of Nachman Yitzchak asks a kasha on him, counters Rabbi Yitzchak, and he says lulav hagozel yavish pasel. The Mishnah only talks about lulav hagozel and yavish. Hasha'u kasher. But a borrowed one sounds like it would be kasher. Meaning, why did the Mishnah leave out shol? Must be that what day is the Mishnah actually talking about? When this Mishnah says it must be including the second day because that's when shol would be okay. So you wouldn't be able to use a borrowed lulav. Must be we're talking about Yom Tasheni. V'katani gazel pasal, and you see that the Mishnah says a gazel is invalid. So you see the Mishnah holds that there is an issue of mitzvah ba'avera, and therefore that's why you couldn't use a stolen lulav on the second day of Yom Tov. Kashan Rabbi Yitzchak. Rav explains to Rabbi Yitzchak and says like this. Well, there are two ways you can read the Mishnah. You can read the Mishnah saying lulav gazel yavesh is pasal, mashma shaul is kosher. Or you could read the Mishnah that shol is pasha that it's no good. And I didn't have to tell you about Shaul because that was Pshita. And the Mishnah is saying, let me buy. Lo Eilam b'Yom Tov Rishon, we're really talking about Yom Tov Rishon. V'lo mi buy ka'amar. Let me buy Shaul. I don't even have to tell you about a borrowed lulav, the lavdi day, because that's pashut. It doesn't belong to you. And the pasuk says lachem. I don't have to tell you it needs to be. You can't use a borrowed one. The pasuk says l'kachtem lachem. You should take for yourself. That means it must be yours. So that would be superfluous for the Mishnah to tell you that Shaul is puzzle. That was pashut. The Mishnah is coming to tell you that not only is Shaul puzzle, but even Gazel is puzzle. Now, why would you think Gazel is okay? Aval Gazel emastam gzelu yush b'aylamu. Maybe you can say, we can just assume that when you steal something from somebody, it's yish. Remember, gezel means that you do it in front of the person. Geneva is when you do it in secret. You sneak in and steal something. Gezel means I just go and I grab it from you. So you see, I took a shade from you and you didn't fight back, so you must have been miyayish. So I can assume maybe there's a din that stam gezel yish b'aylam. Stam, I can make an assumption when something was stolen, there is yush, and therefore I can use it because it's now mine. Therefore it's like it's mine. Therefore, the Mishnah tells us that a lulav gazel is pasul, and we don't say stam gzeil yushbam because the guy is just saying, listen, I'll let you take it from me because I don't want to fight with you, but tomorrow when I have my backup, I'll come and take it back. And I didn't give up from it. So that's what the Mishnah, that's the chiddush of gazel, meaning the pasuk says l'kachtem lachem. So it's pashut that if it's borrowed, you're not yaitz with it. What about if you stole it and there was an yish? So that would also be good. But can I assume that there was yish? Kamash from the Mishnah that stam gezela is not yish and therefore it would be possible to use. So you have two ways to read the Mishnah, depending on whether you hold mitzvah of avera is a problem. Rabbi Shimon Yechai, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Yechai, Rabbi Ami, they all learn that the Mishnah is talking about all of Yom Tov, and therefore there is an additional psul of when it comes to Gezel of Mitzvah of Avera. And Rabbi Yitzchak says the Mishnah is only talking about the first day, but the second day, even a stolen lulav would be kosher. Okay. Amar Luhu Rav Huna Lahanu Avankri. Avankri are merchants, so they would buy and sell. They were middlemen. So, they were reichel. They were retail. So they would buy from people and then sell to others. So you had Avankri that sold Dalad Minim. Okay. So Amr Lahuna Lahanu Avankri. So he told these Avankri, he says, you got to be careful. Kizavinsu Asa Me'akim. When you're buying Hadassim from Goyim, Loi Tigzizu Atun. You shouldn't be the ones to cut down the Hadassim. Let them cut it down. V'yavu Lachu and give it to you. Okay. What's the pshat in that? Why is that? So he explain my time. Stam of the kachavim gazlani artininu. You can assume if you're buying the stuff that's growing on the land, you can assume that this land is stolen. Okay. Now it's possible that it was stolen from a yid. So maybe this land actually belongs to a Jew, and this guy stole it. Okay. The karka, turn laman beis. The karka in an exelis. Well, there's a bit of an issue. There's a halacha that says that karka, real estate, cannot be stolen. That means it always remains b'reshus b'aylam. So the karka is that means there's no yish. There's nothing going on the land. The land still belongs to the owner. So therefore, if you're going to go in and cut it and sell it, so then you're going to be stealing, or at least it's a possibility. Shema that this land belongs to Jews and you're stealing. Hilkach, therefore, let them cut it. They'll cut it down. Now yish will take effect, meaning the owners were miyayish. They assume they're not getting the fruit back. They assume they're not getting this land back, but the yish doesn't affect the karka. Therefore, once they cut it, now yish takes effect. Once yish takes effect, so now there's an added thing here called shini rishus. I mean, even if you hold that yish alone won't work, yish and shini, where if the owner gave a pub on it, and then it changed the hands, there's a shini rishus, there's a change of possession. So that for sure would be kind. Just to understand, anytime you're kind, that doesn't mean you're not over on the Isser of Gazlan and that you have to return money. But there would be a kinyan perhaps on the object that the object wouldn't have to go back, but you'd have to pay back money. So, so here we're saying again, let the people on the property do the cutting, and therefore once they cut it, they'll have a yush bailam be a dayu. So now there's yush, the two in their hands. Vishini rishus be a dayu. Now when they give it to the avankari, there'll be a shini rishus. Okay, so we're okay. Well, for the safe. He goes to avankari. Even if the avankari would cut it, we'll have a yush bailam be a dayu. You could still have when they cut it. So now there's yush. Vishini rishus be a done. And now there's a Rishini Rishos happening to the people who buy it from them. So either way, they're good. Says you're right. That could work when they're selling it. But what about their own Hashanas, their own Hadassim? Now, on their own Hadassim, it's not going to be a Shini Rishos, and therefore for their own Hadassim, you have to have the other guys cutting it down. Okay, but still, why can't you be kind with Shinei Maisa? Shinei Maisa is when you actually did something to the item and you changed it. You changed the item, you're kind it. So where would there be a Shinei? You're not doing much to the Hadassim. Well, you are because you're tying it into your lulav. So maybe that's considered a Shinei. I took it, it was a individual Hadas, and I tied it up with my lulav. It says the Gemara, Avilaknu b'Shinei Maisa. Because lulav ain't tzarech eged. This Shita would hold that you don't need to tie it up, and therefore if you don't need to tie it up, that's not considered. Even if you did tie it up, that wouldn't be considered a shinui because there was no iftu, there was nothing accomplished by your tying it, so we wouldn't consider that a shini maisa. And says the Gemara, and even if you would say lulav tzarech eged, even if a lulav does need to be tied up, it's possible that wouldn't be considered a shinui because shinei achiz lebriyasayu. Because this is a shinei that can just go back to the way it was. So what kind of a shinei is that? It's a pretty shvach shinei. A shinei, that means when you're changing the object, a shinei that takes effect, but can be reversed, is not considered a shinei. So in fact, like niyua b'shinei Hashem. We have one other type of a shinei. It's called a shinei Hashem if the name of the object changed. Right. So for instance, if you have a little a calf and then that becomes a bull or something like that. That's called a Shini Hashem. So Demeikara Havale Asa. This originally used to be called an Asa. They wouldn't call it a Hadas or a Hashana. But Hashana, now it's called a Hashana. When the Hadassim used for the mitzvah were called a Hashana. So it says Hashana Meikara Namila Asa Hashana Karule. These things, that wasn't a Shini Maisa. They used to because the Hadassim were meant to be tied in the Hashanas as a group of the Daled Minim, so therefore they were always called Hashanas. And therefore it wouldn't be a Shini Hachiz L'Briyasai. Okay, sorry for cutting it, but as Erev Shabbos, I wish you all a wonderful Shabbos, and we hope to see you all soon. Have a great Shabbos.